What's a woman to do when she is pregnant but simply cannot keep the child? When it's too late, only one option remains, giving the child up for adoption. A woman might want to remain anonymous during this process for a multitude of reasons. In some circumstances, more than a personal choice, it is a matter of social or literal life or death. To protect such women, the French law has taken an especially proactive course of action, accouchement sous X, anonymous birth. The first anonymous abandonments were not an issue of women's rights. Rather, official channels to abandon a baby were set up to answer a pressing reality of infanticides and infants abandoned in inadequate places, therefore dying of exposure. Today, baby hatches still exist in a multitude of countries, from Hungary to China. In India, for example, their use has been renewed in an effort to combat female infanticide. In 1793, the French Convention offers the first piece of legislation regarding anonymous abandonment of children, and it was so groundbreaking, some would call it the beginnings of French socialized medicine. Beyond anonymity, when giving up a child, women could access medical care to give birth for free. The goal was to reduce maternal and infantile mortality. In 1811, Emperor Napoleon reinforces the pre-existing decree by making sure women's anonymity once they have abandoned their baby can never be lifted. Don't go on thinking he did it to protect women's rights, though. The decree made every abandoned child a ward of the state to be incorporated in the Napoleonic army when they were of age. During the Third Republic, foundling wills are abolished. Women can now give up their baby at a desk open night and day. There, they meet with a civil servant who explains them their rights and what alternatives are available, such as financial support. For the first time, abandoning a child is not an act isolated from other family policies anymore. In 1941, Maréchal Pétain created the official accouchement sous X status, modernizing it completely. Once again, the reasons behind this legislative change are historical. France is under occupation, and many German soldiers are stationed for long periods in France. An estimated 200,000 babies did not have the father they were supposed to, leading to an increase in abandonment and thus a need for reform. In 1990, France signed the International Convention on the Rights of the Child, as a certain consciousness begins to rise that children need to know where they come from to grow into healthy adults. This is the beginning of a true dilemma, as it is not possible to protect both the mother's absolute anonymity and the child's need to know their origin. In 1993, the accouchement sous X status is integrated to the Civil Code, and it becomes possible for women to leave a package for their child. This can contain anything they want and possibly be identifying. Because a child will only be able to open the package when they are 18, the time delay may encourage women to eventually reveal their identity. In 2002, the National Council for the Access to Personal Origins is created as a mediation organism charged with being the link between children looking after their birth mothers and said birth mothers, though ultimately a woman's choice to remain absolutely anonymous will always be respected. It's now been 14 years since the last major legal reform regarding anonymous birth. In the meantime, courts have had to sort through many cases with conflicting interests. For example, in 2012, the French Constitutional Court decided that unless she had explicitly asked that it not be the case, a mother's identity was no longer protected after her death, and that the CNAOP could reveal it to her child if he asked so. Today, the legislation and case law around French anonymous birth is getting more and more complex in an effort to always balance the rights of mothers and children. When it comes to a definite choice, though, the French law has a clear opinion. It is in the ultimate highest interest of the child that mothers should have access to a safe, free, and medically supervised anonymous birth if they wish to.